Hello everyone. In this video today we're going to be taking a look at an article from Fortune that was published on June 26th. Is written by Carson Kessler. And now this is the first chance I've had to sit down all week and make a video. I've wanted to comment on this whole Harley Davidson situation since I found out. Because this whole claim by Harley Davidson and the mainstream media, to put it mildly, is complete and total bullshit. See, the thing is they're trying to claim that these EU tariffs are the reason why we got to shift manufacturing and get rid of American workers, stop employing American workers so that we can deal with the EU tariff. That is seriously ridiculous, because I'm going to show you the actual numbers and where manufacturing facilities are when it comes to the production of their motorcycles. And you're going to see that this is, like I'm saying, complete and total bullshit. This is about screwing the American worker and using them to try to put pressure on President Trump to get rid of his tariffs. So basically what Harley Davidson is doing here is they're saying we're siding with the globalists, fuck the American worker, and Mr. Trump, we're going to use the American worker and the American people against you, and we're going to evoke sympathy so that we can keep employing American workers. You'll get rid of your tariffs. That's what this comes down to. And what gets me is Harley Davidson and the legacy media, they honestly think that we are too stupid to see through this. I mean, literally, I read this article and I went, I smell some bullshit. So I did 5 minutes, give or take, of actual research on some of the things, and can easily prove how full of shit Fortune is, how full of shit Harley Davidson is, and show what the true intent is. I can do that very easily, but let's get into this article here. And then I'm going to go and do that. Because this is some funny fucking shit, what they're trying to pull here. The quintessential American brand, Harley Davidson, is shifting some production overseas to avoid EU regulatory tariffs, but not without some commentary from President Donald Trump. Yeah, because he's probably seeing this for what it is. I mean, I did, and I'm not the president of the United States. What does that tell you? Even with President Trump's disapproval, the Milwaukee-based company views offshore production as the only sustainable option to make its motorcycles accessible to customers in the EU and maintain a viable business in Europe. That's actually complete bullshit, because Europeans are willing to pay more, for premium products like, status products, things like that. And the type of people who are going to buy Harleys in Europe are basically the same type of people that buy Harleys in the U.S. for the most part. Mind you, there are different groups that buy it. But you have the 1% crowd, the wannabe 1%. Well, actually, we could kind of say, well, all right, no, there's still two groups. But the 1% crowd, the outlaw biker type. Then you have the rich urban bikers. You have other people, average people that buy, Harleys, but the average people tend to buy, other V-twins. So you have two major groups of this demographic. Mind you, other groups do make it up. And it's pretty much the same type of situation in Europe with this. And they're trying to make it sound like, Harley is the average brand in Europe. Harley doesn't sell shit in Europe compared to BMW, compared to Caterham, KTM, or whatever it is, compared to all these other motorcycle manufacturers, Triumph and others. They don't sell shit there in comparison. But yeah, EU, big fucking part of their sales. Bullshit. I mean, they kind of counter this here too, because the thing is it's a premium product. We'll put it that way. And they're trying to treat it like it's a fucking Ford Festiva. I love how, like, they're trying to treat it like it is. I mean, it's ridiculous. The Trump administration slapped tariffs on imported steel and aluminum from the EU, Mexico, and Canada early this month. The newly imposed tariffs were designed to protect U.S. jobs, but evoked global anger. This is kind of a misstatement here, because they are designed to protect U.S. jobs, which tariffs do, and not only that, they help to fund the government, because up until you leftist types went, you know, with like the New Deal, the fucking Democratic Socialist, well, turn of the century, progressives. We'll just go with the progressive mark because it's turn of the century. But FDR greatly increased it. But it was, we need to get money. This country was supported on tariffs. They funded the government. We had surplus, just tariffs. But then the progressives come in and go, oh, we got to have all this shit. Oh, we need to do taxes. We need to do this, that, and the other thing. And now we're in debt. Thanks to over a century of progressivism. Besides the military-industrial complex. But, so the thing is we got to a point, and Black Pigeon speaks, and I wish I could think of the video title, but he talks about how with the Cold War, the U.S. decided to take a porking from allies in order to keep them in, you know, favor with us, keep them from going communist, to have them basically allow us to do a lot of shit in fighting the Cold War. Cold War's over. Why the hell should we keep getting porked? And that's the point that Trump has been trying to make. So we try to straighten that out, and because the gravy train's going to end for these countries, okay, like those in the EU, it evokes quote-unquote global anger on the note of them. The same with China, which on the note of China, China has been fucking the United States 6 ways from Sunday, okay, without any Vaseline, all right, while fish hooking us, stealing our technology, profiting from the theft, the CCP, all right, along with their crony business partners, and they're driving this country into the shitter financially because they're doing this, and they're angry that we're no longer going to allow this. That's the type of global anger that this article is trying to make it sound like it's over the tariffs. No, it's over the fact that the U.S. is done being fucked up the ass, okay, and having a train run on us by China and other, you know, well, mostly China in Asia, but, you know, other European countries, you know, all the countries in the EU, and anyone else that was, you know, getting preferential treatment because of the Cold War. They should all go fuck themselves at this point. Why should we have our country have crumbling fucking infrastructure, have all this shit going on, and not be able to compete globally so that we can pay for the, you know, maintenance of this country and the improvement of it? To me, that just makes fucking sense that we should be allowed to do that on a global scale. Every other country's allowed to do it while they're fucking the United States. In response to Trump's tariffs, Europeans are targeting the most iconic American products, such as motorcycles, blue jeans, and bourbon. Which, I'm going to tell you right now, Levi's jeans are going to keep selling in fucking Europe. Okay, bourbon is going to keep selling in fucking Europe. Why? Because, again, premium products. Motorcycles, Harley Davidson, premium product. People are still going to buy it there. The only people you're going to lose out on, if at all, because people buy a Harley so that they can say they own a fucking Harley. But the people that you might lose out on are the broke fucks who barely can scrape enough money together to buy one in the first place. And the only thing that's going to happen is if that $2,200 that they talk about here, the only thing that's going to happen is they're going to scrimp and save up that $2,200 just to buy the fucking thing. So don't try to treat this like it's a Ford fucking Festiva. Don't try to treat this like it's a Chevy fucking A Chevy Cruze or some shit that, you know, that isn't a premium fucking product. You know, this isn't some Econo shitbox like one of those. But yet, you got to try to portray it like this. Because, oh, if we admit it's a premium product and people will still buy the fucking shit, then this is a non-story. And it is a non-fucking story. Such a hike in price would have an immediate and lasting detrimental impact to Harley-Davidson business in the region, the company says, which is complete bullshit. Premium product. People are willing to pay money for premium products. Go look. It's more financially affluent people who are buying Harley-Davidsons in Europe. Okay? UK, for example, which they're still bound by UK laws and, you know, the unelected bureaucrats of the EU. We'll use that as an example with the UK. Do you know who buys Harley-Davidsons in the UK? Pikeys like fucking Richard Hammond. Okay? Guys who want to be fucking Americans. They're buying it for the name. They're buying it for the experience. They're buying it for everything that Harley-Davidson represents on the note of Americana. They're going to pay extra money for that shit. And they already do. Because they leave out the fact that besides this tariff that the EU has levied of 6% that they increased to 31%, which I think this was like backroom dealing between Harley to give them an excuse, but you have every EU nation individually putting tariffs on American goods. So the EU's fucking us, and then their member states are fucking us. So you have that going on, and they're trying to make it sound like Trump's the asshole in this situation. And this is what I mean about this being a non-story. Because what they should be reporting on is how foreign fucking nations fuck this country in trade, but expect us to not fucking, you know, reciprocate. I mean, because this is complete and total bullshit. So you have pikeys like Richard Hammond throughout Europe, okay? Like the type of people that will go and buy a classic. All right, like on the type of people who would buy a Harley. You're talking about people who will import classic cars, pay VAT and all this other shit. And, you know, it isn't going by, like, say, the Kelly Blue Book value when they get their VAT assessed, okay? They go by, like, the appraised value when it comes to something like that. So if someone's willing to import that car and pay a fucking premium on VAT and tariffs on it, because even though you're bringing it in yourself, you could have a tariff assessed on it. If they're willing to do that, they're going to do the same thing with a Harley-Davidson on the note of paying that extra $2,200 at the dealership. It's that simple. Instead of raising the manufacturer's suggested retail price to cover the cost of retaliatory tariffs, Harley will eat the cost itself. Which the reason why it's doing this is to evoke sympathy. Well, look, we have to look at us. You know, we're the company that cares. We're going to eat the cost of that $2,200, okay, so that we can fuck American workers and shift our manufacturing to fucking third world locations where we have plants. Or second world. I mean, one of them could be considered second world. But that's what it comes down to. Oh, look at this is smokescreen. The American people know this shit. They're gonna be like, yeah, fuck you. Oh, don't play this game. I mean, it's ridiculous. A Harley-Davidson should never be built in another country. Never. And he's right about that. I mean, I've accepted the fact of where one manufacturing location is, but they're kind of like American cousins in how they act and everything else to an extent. So I kind of let it slide. Their employees and customers are already very angry at them, which he's right about this. If they move, watch, it will be the beginning of the end. They surrendered. They quit. And he's very right about that. The president is dead on. The aura will be gone and they will be taxed like never before. And he's right about that. Because the aura, the whole thing of Harley-Davidson is American-made Americana. Okay? You straddle over this huge V-twin, and you just, that's part of the whole thing of being, you know, someone who rides a motorcycle in the United States. And yeah, that's what he's talking about. That whole thing of feeling like someone that's an American. That's what part of this is, okay? That's why I said, like, pikeys like Richard Hammond buy him. When I had Harley Davidson officials over to the White House, I chided them about tariffs in other countries, like India being too high. Companies are now coming back to America. Harley Davidson must know they won't be able to sell back into the U.S. without paying a big tax. And he's fucking right on that, because the idea of this is they're now looking at the fact of, oh, we can just use this as the excuse for the first step to move our shit, you know, our manufacturing foreign. More so foreign. Because right now, most of their motorcycles are produced here in the U.S. But and it's not for the fact of the global market or anything like that, because people buy a Harley Davidson, they're going to assume it's American made and they're buying actual Americana. But they think they're going to be able to keep that attached to the brand by moving more manufacturing outside the United States. It isn't going to work. Harley Davidson's decision to cover short-term costs of the tariff hit the company stock hard on Monday. Shares continued their slide in pre-market trade Tuesday. As of 10:15 a.m., Harley Davidson stock is down nearly 2%. Now, this is what's fucked up. They are literally taking the fact that Harley Davidson announced that they're going to shift their manufacturing outside the United States. Right there. That. Because most of the people who are going to buy stock in Harley Davidson are brand loyalists. I hate to say it. You're not going to see people buying stock in a company like Harley Davidson for quote-unquote investment purposes. There's more to it than just that. I mean, those people who have, you know, the attachment to Harley Davidson because they're a Harley rider, yeah, there's that idea of investment, but they're also purchasing with their heart. So when they see that Harley's talking about shifting manufacturing outside the U.S., of course they're going to go fuck you and sell their stock. They're not happy about it. That's what Trump was talking about. But yet they're trying to put this on the fact of it's the tariffs because they think people are fucking stupid. It's ridiculous. This is such stupid shit. It's not even funny. In the close future, Harley Davidson estimates the incremental cost for the remainder of 2018 to be approximately $30 to $45 million. For the year at large, the company estimates the annual impact due to the EU tariffs to be approximately $90 to $100 million. Harley Davidson plans to address the tariff burden by shifting production of motorcycles for EU destinations from the US to its international facilities. Now, here's the thing. They are also completely misrepresenting how tariffs work. They're trying to make it sound like this tariff is being assessed on the company, when in actuality, it's the consumer who pays the additional fucking money, which they kind of admit, but they're still trying to act like, oh, the company's, this is the company getting fucked. No, it's not. It's the person who's making a conscious choice to buy a premium product and decide to pay the tariff. It's their responsibility to pay it. And in Europe, the people who buy Harleys have the money to pay the fucking tariff. 9 times out of 10. To try to claim otherwise makes me believe that you really think Americans are fucking morons. Oh, wait. You're the legacy media. You think we're all fucking numb. I mean, this is such ridiculous. Harley plans to address the tariff burden by shifting production of motorcycles for EU's destinations from the US to its international facilities. Which I love how they won't specify in the article, because they don't want the American people to know that Americans are going to lose their jobs so that people in the third and possibly, oh, like I said, one of them is like second world. They're not in the first world tier yet. Okay? But Americans are going to lose jobs to fucking people outside the U.S. who they can pay shit to. because of this bullshit excuse. That's what this comes down to. They don't want you to know where. But 5 minutes of research, I can show you where they're going to probably most likely move their manufacturing to for the EU. And it's going to piss you off. Harley Davidson was already struggling to combat a dip in U.S. demand by boosting sales overseas to 50% of total annual volume from about 43% currently. Now, this is a complete and total fucking lie by Fortune to sell this story, okay? Because Harley Davidson's own website, their own sales figures, say that's complete and total bullshit, okay? Global sales, the United States makes up over 2/3 of their sales. 2/3. So how the fuck are overseas sales at 43%? How the fuck are they getting them up to 50% when they're not even at 1/3? Explain that one. And the reason why there's a dip in demand in the United States is because Harley, like Ford did, lost touch with the fact of what Americans want. You're selling to an American market. Now, them selling globally, okay, people in Europe and abroad who don't have a clue, but just think Harley Davidson is Americana, are going to buy shit that has that stamp, that brand slapped on it, okay? You could take a fucking Honda 50 with some of these people because they've got money and no sense. And if you slapped Harley on it, on a 50 Cub, some of them might be stupid enough to buy it and go, oh, I got a Harley. Because it's a status thing. It's a premium purchase. So this whole thing of them trying to act like, oh, well, we got to increase our sales in Europe. If you actually produced a product that Americans wanted, that your core group of rubbers, rich urban bikers, and the 1% crowd, your core, okay? Then you get the people in the middle, your average middle class people who will scrimp and save and buy a Harley. They usually buy a used one, but you never know. Those people too, they might actually buy more of your motorcycles new. It's that simple. Produce a product. See, Ford, the reason why they fucked up and they're no longer producing cars in the United States, they're not going to no longer sell really any cars in the United States, is because the stupid fucks went and said, you know what? Fuck what Americans want. We're going to tell Americans what they want, minus the Mustang. And what we're going to do is we're going to produce world cars that people in Europe want. And we're going to sell them to Americans. We're going to shove them down their fucking throats. And we're going to tell them this is what they want. And when Americans went, no, that's not what we want. And they're buying Japanese, cars and Korean cars and shit like that. That should have been a wake-up call to Ford. Not to go, hey, let's stop selling cars, to go, hey, maybe we should actually look at what the American market wants, because these fucking companies like Honda, Toyota, Kia, Hyundai, they've seen what the American people want in a car, and they're actually producing that car. If they did that, they'd be selling cars without a fucking problem. This is no different. But see, that's why they're having a problem with their sales dipping in the U.S. But this is ridiculous shit, though. This is such bullshit that they're saying here, like I said. And I'm going to show you in a minute, because we're almost done the article. In 2017, nearly 40,000 riders bought a Harley-Davidson motorcycle in Europe, accounting for more than 16% of the company's sales last year. 16%! Really isn't a piss in the bucket. Globally, it really isn't. Yeah, that's a decent chunk of change. But you don't have to move. You want to move. That's what this comes down to. The EU is the company's second biggest sales market. Behind the US, Europe was also Harley-Davidson's fastest growing region, with an 8.1% jump in unit sales from a year ago, compared to with a 12% plunge in the US. Which, no, they actually had a decrease. This is what's fucked up. This asshole couldn't even do research, or is blatantly fucking lying to sell this fabrication of Harley-Davidson has to move to compete in the EU, has to move manufacturing to its other facilities. I mean, this is ridiculous. Per Trump's tweet, Harley must know that they won't be able to sell back into the U.S. without paying a big tax. Harley Davidson is not looking to import bikes manufactured overseas back to the U.S. The motorcycles made abroad will only sell abroad, while U.S. bikes will continue to be made in the U.S. Yes, but see, here's the thing. At some point, Harley Davidson's, this is the first step. Harley Davidson's going to get it in their fucking mind that it's just a brand. The brand sells Americana. It isn't the fact that it's manufactured in the United States by hardworking American workers who bust their ass to produce the best product that they can. Oh, no, it isn't about that. It's just the name Harley Davidson sells America. It's just Americana. That's complete bullshit. I'll tell you right now, anywhere else in the world, minus one country, if they found out the Harley Davidson they were buying was not manufactured in the United States, they'd go, fuck you. In that one country, it would have to be manufactured in that country itself for them to otherwise go, fuck you. But see, they're trying to portray it like, oh, well, they'll never do that. Oh, no, they're just going to fucking get rid of a bunch of American workers because they're going to go gear up more in their third world manufacturing facility or their second world manufacturing facility. That's what it comes down to. So now let's actually look at their retail sales numbers because they fucking lied, okay, on Fortune. In that Fortune article. Total worldwide retail sales. 200, all right, we'll look at this. They're trying to blame the United States for all of this, but 2015, 264,627. 2016, 1 year later, they lost 4,000, about 4,300 units and give it and change. Okay, like 260,289 is where they're at. Then you look, 2017, and the economy's has been doing good with Trump in office. Okay, people were starting to look up with the fact of him running. It was the whole Americana push. It was America first. You would think that their sales would have went up in the U.S. with that, especially when they were talking to Trump. In the beginning, at the end of the actual 2017. No, it plummeted almost 20,000 units to 242,788. Now look, they lost 20,000 units in sales between 2015 and 2017 in the United States. Because in 2015, they sold 168,240. So they sold more than 2/3 of their worldwide sales in 2015 in the United States. 2016, okay, 160,000 to 100,000. That's like a third. Same thing. 2017, 147,000. They sold 242. So they sold less than 100,000 worldwide. So yes, the U.S. market decreasing. But the thing is they're trying to make it sound like Europe grew. Like, it grew their sales. We got to do this for Europe. 2015, they had actual growth into 2016. They went from 36,894 units sold to 39,942. 2017, which you notice they don't bring this up in the article, they actually sold less units in 2017 in Europe than they did in 2016. 39,733 to 39,942. They sold almost 200 units less. And then this EMEA, for whatever reason, Harley Davidson includes Europe, the Middle East, and America. Which you would think they would call it America, Europe, Middle East, but being an American company, I think they'd put that first. But so basically, this is the Middle East. Their sales went down in the Middle East. They sold 6,393 in 2015, 5,896 in 2016, 5,162 in 2017. So their sales are across the board for EMEA. Like, completely down. They're going down again. They've hit their peak. They're going down. Asia Pacific. They had their, see, it's like this globally. 2016, 9,700 in 2015, 10,279 in 2016. Then they 773 units less in 2017, 9,506, which Asia Pacific includes Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and Korea. All right, and then the other is outside that. But for whatever reason, Asia Pacific other. So they didn't really sell that many in Australia, New Zealand, Japan, or Korea. But outside those areas, so probably China, these other, some other island nations, probably where military bases are located, I would guess you're going to have some of those sales accounted in these total numbers. But the Asia Pacific other, they sold well over twice throughout the rest of Asia. 22,558 in 2015. 22,610, which they barely went up there. And then look, they take a 2,000 unit, well, 1,800 we'll say, 1,700 change unit drop in 2017 with 20,842. So, I mean, you look, they had a slight gain in Asia from 2015 to 2016. We're talking 500 and change units. Then they lost 2,500 the next year. Then you go into Latin America, okay? They're only going downhill. They're trying to make it sound like their sales were only shrinking in the United States. But let me just show you Latin America here. 2015, they sold 11,173 motorcycles there. Next year, 2016, 9,701. Literally, almost, 1,200 or whatever. Boom. Another 250 units short in 2017. It went down to 9,452. Canada, they sold 9,669. 2015, it went up 600, 500 and some odd units to 10,203. And then boom, a drop in 2017 to 10,081. So they're Fortune and Harley are trying to portray this as, oh, the market slump is in the United States and we got to do this to save Europe. Sales are down for Harley all around. See, they went from, this is their total international retail sales. They went 96,000. 387. 98,631. 94,816 going year by year. So they're at 96, went up to 98, back down to 94. Now let's look at the total worldwide sales, because they're trying to say that, oh yeah, half the market, they're at 43% now. They're not even at a fucking third. Fortune is lying to try to push this whole thing, because 264, 627 to 96,000, that leaves almost 170,000 units. Well, I'm rounding up here, obviously, that were sold in the United States. I mean, the exact number, 168,000, but you get the picture. All right, 260 total, 161. So less than 100,000, 98,000. Then they go, boom, down to 94,000. It's the United States. Why Harley Davidson is now suffering financially, it's the United States. But in every fucking market, their sales have gone down. Go figure. So this right here destroys that narrative. But now, let's go look at their locations. Okay, for manufacturing. They've got 4 U.S. locations. Missouri, Kansas. Or Kansas City, Missouri, I'm sorry. York, Pennsylvania. If I butcher this to you Wisconsinites, I apologize. Menominee Falls, Wisconsin, and then Tomahawk, Wisconsin. All right. Now, then they have Adelaide, Australia, which this was the country that I was talking about where they would accept purchasing a non-made in the USA Harley Davidson because they would at least be supporting local Australians, So here we are. Now we get into the third world. All right. You got Manaus, Brazil, Bilal, India, and those two I'm going to say third world. No offense to people in India, but when you're shitting in the street, you're fucking third world. Deal with that fact. Okay, when you've got favelas filled with crime and, people are murdering people for the sake of it, you're fucking third world. Okay, you don't necessarily have that in Thailand, so I'll call them second world. Okay, do you want to know where Harley's going to shift most of their manufacturing? I'll tell you right now. The cheapest place for them to do it, most likely India. Second cheapest, Thailand. So those are the two places where they are literally going to send this manufacturing now. And when they do this, it's just the first step of a slippery slope. And they're just going to keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. To where it's the idea of what's happened to a lot of American brands. Okay? Zenith. Slap that on a fucking TV. Oh yeah, nostalgia. And they think that they're going to sell it. No. American nostalgia. People will remember Zenith and they'll go out and buy the TV. RCA, same thing. And that's what these brands got delegated to. And these were brands that were pioneering brands. These were brands that were known for, if you're buying their product, you're buying something that's built, to a level of quality that others tried to compete with at that price point at minimum, if not overall. And you have these companies, in those cases, foreign companies, trying to cash in on that. And Harley Davidson honestly thinks that they're going to be able to cash in on that by selling a fucking pikey in the UK. A Harley Davidson made in fucking India or Thailand. I don't know how many people have watched Lilyhammer. But you do have, on Netflix. But you do have biker types like that in different parts of Europe. Okay, the same with Ireland and say Sons of Anarchy. You do have those 1%er types. Besides the pikey with money, the pikey equivalent with money in other European countries that are going to buy these bikes. I said it's a premium product. Do you think they're buying it for the fucking name alone, and that name supposedly being the thing that makes it Americana? No. They're going to buy it because they want it made in the USA. They're not going to want some India-made, or Thailand-made, questionable quality, Brazil, same with Brazil, Harley Davidson of questionable quality. They're not going to want that. Yet, this is where they're going to send their manufacturing to, like I said. Most likely India, Thailand behind that. But, I think I've completely destroyed this EU tariff, narrative of Harley's going to move manufacturing because of EU tariffs. Just real quick, if you look, total sales, EU, which, if you look, their Europe thing is basically the EU. Austria, Belgium, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom. That's basically every EU nation. It's not a fucking piss in the bucket. Okay, 264,000. 36,000, almost 37,000 of them in 2015 was Europe. All of Europe. Okay, Americans on a bad day outpaced them dramatically at 168,000. Okay, and it's been consistent with 2016 and 2017, as you can see here. Just with 2017. Okay, we'll say 40,000 units to 150. All right, the U.S. is almost 6 times the market. At almost 6 times the market. We'll 5.5, we'll say. Probably more accurate. At 5.5 times the market, Europe is such a big worry. Fuck pissing off. Who gives a fuck if we piss off our core fucking audience and our core market? by shifting manufacturing to these third world fucking facilities and putting Americans out of work. Oh, they'll keep buying us, even though they cut, down 20,000 units from 2 years ago on buying from us. They used to buy 20,000 more units a year, but hey, fuck, they'll just keep buying. That's the stupidity of this. They're showing that they've fucking sold out to the globalists and that they don't want fucking the United States to stand up for itself. This isn't about the EU tariff. This is about the fact of Trump, okay, having a set of balls on him to actually tell these globalist fuck pigs that I'm sure members of the fucking board, I don't know if the CEO, chairman, or CFO, or any of those other members in the corporate structure are globalist fuck pigs, but they're kind of showing it when they'd rather side with the globalist fuck, the globalist, fuck us up the ass types than the man who's trying to fight them and stop them from screwing this country over. So if you're an American and you're thinking about buying a Harley, take what I've said here with this video. Think about it. Think hard. Because this goes to show, with what I've shown with the actual numbers, their manufacturing locations. I think I've shown what most likely their intent was with this whole situation. And consider maybe buying another American brand like Victory or Indian. Because this is the first step of Harley saying, fuck you, we think we can tread on the brand name. We're going to eventually sell out all you American motherfuckers that made us who we are for over a fucking century now. That's what they're going to do. But anyway, I've covered this well enough. I've put way more time into this than I wanted to. But this whole situation and how it's being covered, like I said, I had to chime in on it. It kind of actually pissed me off if you couldn't tell. But anyway, I'm just going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.